What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showing you a bunch of automations that I leverage to create a two-way sync between my Smartlead account and my Clay account. As you're able to see, we've got a bunch of campaign tables over here, and these are the exact same tables that I have within my Smartlead account. And so how we're able to accomplish this is through our ClickUp dashboard. And why this is relevant is because it allows you to streamline your operations super well and takes things that would normally take an hour to do and turns them into 5-minute tasks. For example, let's talk list building and then we'll get into all of the other use cases, right? So we've got a campaign over here with a list source. We're simply going to click on the list source over here, export whichever leads that we've got over here, and then click on the Clay table with the exported lists, and then we import them as a CSV, and then this Clay table is going to be adding all of that into the specific campaign. So we don't really need to spend any mental bandwidth thinking about, okay, I've got a list, where does this list go? We always know where the list goes. We always know where the Clay table goes as far as the email campaigns. Next thing I want to show is building campaigns within 5 minutes, right? We're able to do like 10 campaigns in 5 minutes. We've got a super dope system for this. And so this is all the steps it goes through, right? Choose campaign playbook, generate campaign copy using AI, etc. And then finally, it adds the campaign to Smartlead. And so when it adds the campaign to Smartlead, it's also simultaneously going to be adding the campaign into Clay. And I will be going over the automations in just a second, but I want to give you like an overview of like what we're working towards in this video, right? And so to get started, I want to show off a quick use case as to like how all of this stuff works and why it's important to have a project management tool outside of these. So one thing that you are able to do, let's say you want to duplicate a table. And the reason why you would want to duplicate a table is because, for example, I've got 60 columns over here in this table. We don't want to replicate all of, like, we don't want to have to restart from scratch to do all of that. And simultaneously, we don't want to have to recreate this same campaign with all of the settings, with everything from scratch. And so how are we going to be able to do that? Well, we're going to be using a tool like ClickUp. And so inside ClickUp, we've got all of the campaigns, all of the analytics, all of the things, but this is also interacting with both of these platforms. For example, let's go ahead and duplicate 1.2 over here. So Afonto 1.2, we're going to click duplicate. I will refresh the page on both sections over here to show you what it looks like in real time. So these are the campaigns. These are the campaigns over here. And so we're going to just call this Afonto test, right? Just a long test, right? In all caps, right? And then we're going to trigger this automation. So this is one tiny little automation from the full overview. We'll be going over the rest, right? And so let's go ahead and run this automation. Wait for new data. Let us duplicate this. So all we need to do is just duplicate that campaign that already exists. Afonto test, right? It's going to trigger this automation. It gets the campaign, duplicates the campaign, renames the campaign, assigns it to a specific client, gets the Clay tokens, duplicate the table, having all the settings, and then we also even create like Google Drive folders and things like that, right? And so for one, if I were to duplicate it directly from my Smartlead campaign, it's not automatically going to assign the client. And so this is one upping what we're able to do internally, right? And so let's refresh the page. As you can see, a Afonto test, it's associated to the specific client. And when we click on edit campaign, we've got the sequence over here. We've got all of the settings. Everything is here, right? And inside Clay, we refresh the page. And when we refresh the page, it's going to, I thought it was going to take a while. It's going to be over here, a Afonto test. And similar to what I had previously shown, we've got 60 columns and we've got all of the information over here ready for us to play with. And again, why this is important, having this two-way sync when we go to a Afonto test, now we have the campaign URL and we have the Clay table. Again, both of these are synced. And so when we go back into our list building section, now we can start to build, although to do list building is not to do. What is this? It's probably to do right now. List building status. Oh, okay. So I just have to refresh the page, I guess. Okay, so refresh the page. It should pop up over here. And so, or, oh, is to do. There you go. So is to do. Anyways, besides the point. And so we've got the campaign over here. We've got all of that stuff, right? And so that's one of the things that I wanted to go over with regards to creating a two-way sync. And we'll quickly go over this automation. Actually, this is too complex. I will slow down so that someone can like screenshot it, get Smartlead token, duplicate, rename table, get Clay token, duplicate other table, blah, 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 blah. Right? I've made videos on this stuff before, right? Like you can check out some of my videos on the channel and you will see how they work. And so this one over here, generate campaign copy for playbook testing. And so actually no, it's send campaign copy. And so as we're building the campaigns, right? So this is a Afonto test. We'll create a brand new campaign. Actually, we've already got one. So Afonto create a new campaign. I will use a manual playbook. That's what I've been using for the most part, right? Like, we're gonna skip the spin tax because that's going to just be a pain to do spin tax for this. Although it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we've chosen a manual playbook. We've got a bunch of other playbooks that we can use. I'm still working on them, but essentially we just generate campaign copy. And so once we generate the campaign copy, oh, it's a manual playbook, nothing happens. Next step, it generates the spin tax. It's going to create spin tax for all of these, which I'm not going to like what it comes up with. Let's see what it comes up with. Although, let's just move on. Oh, there you go. So it's just, I'm sorry, but the text provided is horrible. I get it. Also, we shouldn't even have the variants this early. Doesn't matter. And then it's manually create variations. And so this is the next step. And then finally, we do add campaign to Smartlead. And so this is going to trigger this automation over here. And so this automation is doing the same thing as the duplication, but it's going to be doing that for Smartlead. And so when we click run once, right, and then we add campaign to Smartlead, we go back to this automation and it's doing that, right? Updating the schedule, updating that. It ran into an error actually. So the status code over here, update email sequence, ran into an error. Let me see if I can quickly point out what the error is. It's the quotation. As you can see, we've got quotation marks over here, and that's because we just messed around with that, right? Let me remove the quotation marks because we don't need to deal with the quotation marks. And also, like, this is something that never happens. Like, actually, it never happens. But you can have a chat GPT prompt that's like avoid the, like, you can have a chat GPT prompt that informs you. And by the way, like, it's over here, automation ran into an error. So like, we'll always know whenever things like that happen. But we're running it again. It's creating the campaign, updating the schedule, and then it worked, right? So it went into Google Drive, and then now it's going to create the Clay stuff, right? So it's creating the Clay table, duplicating the master table, and then updating our ClickUp tasks. And so when we go back into Clay, do not delete. This is the master campaign table. And so the master campaign table basically acts as a template for everything, right? And so it's got a bunch of formulas ensuring that we can get leads from literally anywhere, right? And so this is just a basic template that we can leverage anywhere. New column. this is something I'm going to be deleting. I was working on something, but doesn't matter. So we go back over here. We should have a brand new campaign in this section over here. So create new campaign. As you can see, it's all going directly into the specific client folder, and we're not doing anything special, right? Like it's just following the automations over here. And again, we go back to this specific campaign. We've got a clay table, we've got a campaign table, and this is what's allowing us to have that two-way sync, because regardless of any campaign, we always know which clay table it's assigned to, which smart lead campaign it's assigned to. And so we can build lists extremely well and fast. We can also create comprehensive analytics. Like, this is just like basic analytics. This is a sneak peek dashboard that I had created, going over email sent count. And so, like, after implementing this, like 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and I just add up the capacity for one of my clients to 1,000, and like we're consistently hitting that goal because of the fact that we have all of the clay tables. Like, if I need to add 500 leads, I don't need to guess, I don't need to think, I don't need to do anything. I know that the list source is here, I know the clay table's here, I know the campaign URL is here, and it's just done. It's done. We don't need to do anything special, right? I will spend the next few minutes going over some other things that I have within my clay dashboard, as I'm not sure when I'll cover them again. So the first one is the timeline view. So the timeline view is basically a due date and a start date, informing us of when the campaign was created, and then when we stopped sending emails. And I'm realizing Afonto test new campaigns should probably have a different start date, and I will actually change that. Okay, so yeah, so this is basically that, right? I was running Afonto 1 all the way up until Feb. I was running Afonto 2 for a very short period of time, and then Afonto 3 kicked in, and it obviously also matches with our actual leads, right? So the leads that are coming through, they kept coming until March 15, when we stopped running outbound campaigns. This was the last one. And that's basically what the timeline's doing. Targeting, what targeting does is it basically informs us of all of the positive leads in specific campaigns. I'm also realizing when I create a brand new campaign, we should move it to NA or remove it, whatever. I'm going to do that. And so, yeah, it lets us know like all of the positive replies, who they are, so that we can target them better, right? As you can see, like advertising services like these respond, and a lot of the people who respond for my services are C-suites in 20 to 50 employee companies that are in advertising in the US, and a lot of Indian companies too, right? Also, it's probably because of that's who I targeted, but those are the people who responded, and were able to double down on those efforts, right? And then we've got the campaign analytics, and then we've got the lists and the campaigns. You've already seen that. So that's the video. Hope this was helpful in your efforts to create a two-way sync. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and leave a comment if you have any questions. Cheers.